Hey everyone, Paul from Hashtag Sports. Big breaking news. Khalil Shakir has officially been ruled out for the Week 5 matchup against the Houston Texans. Shakir has been dealing with an ankle issue, and it is now officially pushed him out. So we're going to talk about that real quick, and then also kind of talk about what snap counts look like for other wide receivers and the rest of the roster, and kind of how this is going to impact Buffalo, because Shakir has been a major part of that Bills offense, sort of being the go-to receiver when you got to have it. You kind of go to Shakir. He's been not only great at balance point, taking contact to yards after contact, but he's just been a vacuum when it comes to targets. And you kind of take that Khalil Shakir out of this Bills offense, and what do you got? Well, you have options that you haven't really utilized yet. And obviously it is now Friday, and Shakir being out is a pretty rough sign for a Bills team that is currently carrying 4 wide receivers on their practice squad, 5 on the active roster, 4 on the practice squad. So Buffalo does have options. So let's kind of go through what that looks like now that we know that Shakir has been ruled out. Again, unfortunately, this is just the nature of the business. Shakir's been, again, a wonderful addition to this offense. However, been some problems there. Hey, buddy, what's going on? Hey, come here. Hey. So my little guy just walked in. What's up, everybody? Hey, Ben. Say hi to YouTube.
Hey, YouTube.
Hey, what's up? So, unfortunately, with Shakir being out, this does garner some opportunities for players who maybe haven't had the best snap count percentages that you kind of thought. When you look at Curtis Samuel is sort of Curtis Samuel is kind of underperformed from a snap count percentage, but we'll get to that in just a second. Hey, Ben, here. Go upstairs real quick. I'll be right upstairs. I love you. So looking at snap counts quickly, right? Live television, everybody. So looking at snap counts quickly, Mac Hollins has actually led the wide receiver group in snap counts at almost 66%. Keon Coleman is 65%. So basically no difference there. Shakir has played 58.26% of snaps. And that's where it kind of drops off. MVS has been at just slightly under 40%, and Curtis Samuel has been at under 30%. Curtis Samuel actually only taking 68 snaps on the season so far. So if you look at the rostered receivers, right, Buffalo's not going to bring just 4 receivers into this game. I really wouldn't anticipate that. So you start looking at the remainder of the roster, and what do you have? Well, you have Amaron, I'm going to pronounce this incorrectly. Rookie receiver for South Carolina, Brown. I know how to pronounce his first name. I'm just stumbling over it right now. You do have KJ Hamler, which people I think were a little disappointed didn't make the 53-man roster at the end of training camp. But again, another smaller receiver at 5'9". Now, that's not the profile that Khalil Shakir fits. You do have Tyrell Shavers, who's obviously significantly bigger. He had 6'4", really had a great preseason, and maybe this is his opportunity to be activated. And then you have Jalen Virgil, who again, I'm not sure is when you look at the receivers that are on the list, it probably goes Tyrell Shavers if somebody like Shakir, Keon Coleman is out, KJ Hamler if you lose somebody like Curtis Samuel, right? So my anticipation is I would expect to see KJ Hamler or Shavers active. I don't think Buffalo has or needs to reveal whom that would be to fill that role. And obviously you're not looking at somebody coming in and taking in 6, 7, 8 targets. You're just trying to fill the roster spot. So how does this change the Bills offense? Well, the great thing about the Bills offense so far this season is the targets have been spread around. And I see right here, Stephen, hey, what's going on, buddy? Long time. Can we trade for Davante Adams already? A lot of cap goes into that. And Buffalo's definitely made the phone call, right? You're not a general manager if you're not kind of making this phone call. So you make the phone call. You got some money that you have to figure out if you're going to bring in Davante Adams. But Adams also wants a lot of targets. So you exited Stephon Diggs, who was a demanding part of the offense, and then you're going to enter Davante Adams, who again wants to be a demanding part of the offense. So I'm not sure if that's necessarily the perfect fit to counter your injury of Khalil Shakir, who again has been a really solid possession receiver for you and has done some wonderful things after the catch. Listen, I think the Bills are going to be fine here. right? I don't think you need to do anything too crazy. You've got Shavers, you got KJ Hamler, you've underutilized Curtis Samuel, so that could actually play to your advantage here because he's only played 68 snaps. So there's not a ton of film on how Buffalo plans on using him yet. So that's sort of an opportunity to expand the offense. Now, with that being said, last week was a pretty damning sight to see. That is more concerning to me is not necessarily the Shakir injury, but it was how Buffalo looked last week. Defensively, as far as the defensive scheme going against Buffalo, it was pressure, 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 right? And make Josh uncomfortable. And they were able to do a great job, Baltimore was, of covering up everything on the backside. Now, listen, not every team is capable of doing that. So can Houston come at it? Well, Houston certainly can. Houston is going to bring a ton of pressure. So it's going to leave opportunities for your wide receivers because the Houston secondary, in my opinion, isn't as good as the Baltimore secondary. But with that being said, what do you do here? Well, I think you have to utilize Keon a little bit more. As far as the total target share goes, yes, Keon's played a bunch of snaps, but Keon's not demanding a ton of targets yet. Maybe this is his opportunity to step forward a little bit. Maybe you see KJ Hamler, maybe you see Terrell Shavers, or maybe you actually see MVS contribute offensively. I don't know. I'd like to see that. I don't know about anybody else, but you're paying a pretty decent amount of money to Curtis Samuel to be playing less than 30% of your overall offensive snaps. And I think that's probably the thing that changes initially. It's probably the simplest solution is to figure out how to get Samuel on the field a little bit more. Now, again, Khalil Shakir and Curtis Samuel do not play the same. That do not play the receiver position the same way. So the routes are inherently different. Also, the wingspan and target ratio of the two of them compared, like it's not even close. But with that being said, Samuel is a wildly talented receiver who is very dynamic after the catch. So you almost have to consider that to be the solution here. Now, what's Buffalo going to do? Well, maybe Buffalo leans on the ground game a little bit more. The one thing that was, here at Hashtag we were a little bit critical of was Buffalo didn't add sort of that heavier footed running back, right? You have Ray Davis, you have Ty Johnson, you have James Cook, but you kind of lack that bruiser back that maybe in a game that you kind of want to drag out a little bit. If you're a little thin at wide receiver, you want to keep it a little dirty. You don't really have that back there right now. But again, that's being wildly particular. Stephen Gordy, Josh runs the triple wing Nebraska option. Please, dear Lord, no. Please, no. Please, no. Yeah, another one here. Oliver is likely going to be out too. So that probably is, Ed Oliver being out is, to me, a bigger conversation than Shakir being out. But the fact of the matter is everybody's going to want to talk about Khalil Shakir being out. And Oliver's been the straw that stirs the drink across that defensive line. But you've had some injuries there, so Oliver's had to play more than you typically would have played him early in the season. You're a little thin at defensive tackle in the first few games, but now you just got a little healthier, but now you're taking a big step back with that Oliver being out, especially if Mixon is returning, because Joe Mixon has been out since week 1, where he ran for like 200 and a crazy amount of yards. Listen, this is the way this offense is going to look, and hopefully Buffalo can wrangle it in. Hey, Paul from Hashtag, everybody. Have a good one. Go Bills.